I've been gone a long time. The world I knew was measured in slide rules and ink. Yours moves at the speed of rumor and feeds. Yet, thanks to the adventure team, I return to find my name still attached to a cat. A fine animal, to be sure, but an unfortunate mascot for confusion. Let's clear that up. I am Erwin Schrödinger, Nobel laureate, architect of wave mechanics, and apparently the man who sentenced one imaginary feline to a century of public misunderstanding because I put a cat in a box to prove that nothing is real until you look at it. First, an apology. My thought experiment became so catchy it sometimes confused more than it clarified. I designed it to expose the absurdity of a sloppy idea, not to endorse it. I've walked through your present, feeds, shorts, pop-size slogans, and I keep hearing, reality pops into existence when you observe it. That is not my view. The cat was satire, a reductio ad absurdum, aimed at the habit of treating measurement like a magic wand. If your interpretation says a cat can be both alive and dead in the ordinary sense until a human peaks, the interpretation is the problem, not the cat, not reality. To be fair to history, Copenhagen means many things. By naïve Copenhagen, I mean the collapse on observation caricature that leaked from textbooks into talk shows, not Bohr's more careful complementarity, which shows that some properties can't be revealed together. Different setups reveal different, incompatible, conjugate observables. No single setup reveals them all at once. The consciousness collapses the wave function story is more often associated with von Neumann and Wigner and generations of popularizers than to physicists working equations. So let's open the box, conceptually. Picture a sealed chamber with 4 parts. A radioactive atom with a 50-50 chance to decay in 1 hour, a Geiger counter that clicks if the atom decays, a vial of poison that shatters if the counter clicks, and a cat whose fate is chained to that atomic event. In the naive story, before you look, the atom is in a superposition, a precise mathematical combination of decayed and not decayed. Couple that to the counter, the poison, the cat, and now they say the cat is in a superposition of alive and dead. Open the box. You observe, collapse happens, and the world chooses. I found that extension absurd by design. If your story implies a cat that is both alive and dead in the ordinary sense, perhaps your story is smuggling confusion. The point was to make that absurdity visible, to expose the vagueness around measurement, not to worship it. Superposition is not sorcery. It's mathematics, precise, deterministic, remarkably predictive. A quantum state is a structured sum of possibilities evolving under the equation named after me, the Schrödinger equation. The problem isn't the equation. It's the myth we built around interpretation. Evolution is continuous. Outcomes are discrete. That mismatch, how a definite event arises, is the measurement problem. It isn't solved by declaring that eyesight conjures existence. Decoherence explains why interference vanishes in practice and classical definiteness emerges. Ubiquitous environmental interactions scramble delicate phase relations between alternatives. But decoherence alone doesn't select a single outcome. That last step is interpretation, and interpretations must declare what exists at all times, coherently, and without appealing to consciousness. If you like a philosopher's test, demand sufficient reason, one globally consistent account, not convenient patches. In practice, that means a single, self-consistent solution, not a patchwork of exemptions. In practical terms, decoherence handles the appearance of classicality, while interpretation handles which outcome is real, which is why cats look definite without invoking minds. The world itself performs continuous measurement through countless interactions. Different camps sharpen the options. Everett's Many Worlds says no collapse, just branching correlations. Bohm's pilot wave theory says definite particles are guided by a real wave. Objective collapse theories amend the dynamics itself. These are live options that often make the same predictions in the lab, but differ on what is real. I crown no victor, I demand clarity. Choose an ontology, a clear account of what exists that stays consistent when you scale from atoms to cats, and don't outsource reality to a buzzword. Coherence isn't kindness, it's necessity. The world honors consistency over comfort. Another confusion to retire. In physics, an observer is any system that records a film plate, a sensor, a neuron firing. Remove the human, and the measurement still occurs. The universe does not wait backstage for applause before beginning the act. Your gaze is just one more interaction in a very long chain. When popular media says the observer creates reality, it replaces science with sorcery. Nonsense. Observation is physical interaction that writes records. No appeal to human consciousness is required. Interaction, not incantation. Consider the double slit experiment. Fire electrons one by one at 2 slits and you get interference, superposition and phase. Insert detectors to learn which slit was taken and interference vanishes. Pop culture says observation destroyed the wave. Physics says you entangled the electron with the detector. Information flowed. Phase relations changed. That isn't bookkeeping. It's the physical story. If you erase that which path information, interference returns in the properly correlated subset. That isn't bookkeeping. It's the physical story. Interacting systems write the story, not human attention. That's dynamics, not mysticism. And that, my friends, is the essence. Entanglement. It's the characteristic trait of quantum mechanics, the deep interconnection of systems within a single mathematical structure. It reveals that what we call parts are merely faces of one whole. We didn't invent the unity. Our instruments revealed it. Reason recognizes the form that sensation reports. That unity signals a single underlying order, a coherent mathematical whole, not permission for mysticism. The cat thought experiment links microscopic uncertainty to macroscopic definiteness through entanglement. It is a bridge built to expose our conceptual cracks. A critic, not a creed. If you insist on a philosophical moral, take this one. Seek explanations that are coherent, not convenient. Aim for intellectual hygiene, a clear account of what exists and how it evolves. Reality shows every sign of being law-governed in profoundly mathematical ways. Whether you call that mathematical structure, wave-function realism, or something more metaphysical, the message is the same. Math is not a trick, it's the grammar of being. Treat it as the structure of the world, not just a bag of predictions. Equations aren't stories about matter. They are what matter is. So, let me say it plainly, the quantum world is real, whether you are watching or not. If scaling your interpretation up to tables, counters, and cats produces paradox, then it's the interpretation that needs revision. Decoherence explains why cats look classical. The rest of the story is realism versus romance. Choose clarity over slogans. Give a clean account of what exists and how it evolves. Reality doesn't wait for your gaze. Your job is to model its structure honestly. To teachers and explainers, use the cat as critique, not catechism. Teach measurement as dynamics, decoherence as the emergence of the classical, and interpretations as honest attempts at completeness. Teach students to distrust every sentence that uses observer like a magic word. So, to all the infinite clips repeating, observer creates reality, stop. That's not science, that's metaphor in a lab coat. My experiment mocked that leap. I meant to demand thought, not worship. Want nuance? You'll find it in measurement theory, not memes. If one of those memes hooked you, consider this your invitation to trade it in for understanding. If you need a slogan, take this one. Don't collapse your standards. Clarify your concepts. And to the cat, my apologies most of all. You deserve better than a century of clickbait. Finally, I am Erwin Schrödinger, returning briefly to remind you that ideas can collapse faster than wave functions if you treat them carelessly. If this talk helped you wake the cat, or at least its meaning, then feed the algorithm in your customary way. Subscribe to this wonderful channel, comment, ring your bells, whatever ritual saves understanding these days. Just remember, superstition dies when clarity lives. Thank you, and keep your boxes open.